Hey fellow Vault Dwellers, it's Angry Turtle and welcome to another episode of Secret Mechanics in Fallout 76. How surprisingly you can pull the build from stuff that normally you would not expect is gonna work. I kind of like to dig into those like hidden interactions between perks and gear and so on that's nowhere to be found about any explanation in-game. It just doesn't exist. I know it's not for everyone digging into those secrets, but I like doing that. If you don't like, I just will give you all the answers. But first, how well does it work? Let me demonstrate quickly and then I will show you what makes it work. First, using the build is very simple. It's as simple as 1-2 step. And look at that, all the caps flowing into my pocket directly experience and the whole wave of enemies defeated. But those are low level, obviously easy task. What about a tougher targets? Much tougher ones, like a headhunt. And now the toughest enemies in Ohio. Headhunt targets solo. And for this scenario in particular, first person view will be better. As then we can use VATS. How we use VATS? We can just target them, assuming they will be out in the open a little bit. And look at that, look at the health. Look at the health. That's one astronaut god. I don't actually use VATS or criticals or anything like that. It just helps me target and stay pinned on a target. So I do that, and I don't need to hold anything outside of forward button. Look at this beautiful dance. Look at this beautiful dance. It probably looks very hilarious from perspective or other players too. But you know how tough those guys are. You probably know if you try to solo them yourself. So where is the boss? And yes, I'm getting caps for free, which is very nice. That's the guard crusher. So this power armor guy survives a little bit, but bleed finishes it off. So those guys are tough too. And very easy for me. And now the Space Ranger, the boss of the area. Look at the health melting. Where did you go? It's hiding. Where are you? Oh, the bleed finished it off. And there we go. Headhunt sword. Now you probably wonder, how is it all possible? How I can do it like that? And yes, I will tell you everything. How this stuff works. If you don't have 4 stars like Choo-Choo that I do have here, it's not required. You will be doing a little bit less damage. You will steal one bump kill about any regular enemy. Those power armor guys slightly tougher, so if you don't have Choo-Choo, Choo-Choo is giving this bleed effect. That's the Choo-Choo. Then you may need a little bit more than 1 bump. But super mutants, Scorch, regular enemies will still be 1 bump even without 4 star. And even if you are not a feral ghoul. Feral ghoul helps. You may notice I am here, and that helps. But it's not required. All of this stuff is not required. I will tell you what is required. Let's dive in. And now the fun part for me start, which is telling you all the interactions I was able to find. So that's a Choo-Choo build. Special distribution of mine before legendary perk cards. Strength is important to be maxed out. That's the most important stat for this build to make it work. I do have all my legendary perks. You honestly don't need as much. You will see when I will be explaining perk cards. Not all are really needed. There is a lot of quality of life because I am very end game character. If you are not yet, you just take essentials and it will work. You can make this build work at level 50, so it's absolutely possible. And enemies are softer when you are level 50, so it will go even better. Now, perks. And the fun starts here. That's the perk you must have. That's the key. Pain Train. Devastate and stagger enemies by sprinting into them with power armor. So that's exactly what we are doing. There's more into it than just this perk, but that's the key. You must have this. Obviously, without it, entire thing doesn't work. Now, what else here? Some tankiness from Barbarian. Scatter Shot, as it is indeed doing limb damage, so I can cripple my targets by sprinting into them, which is fun. Not essential, like you could skip all the crippling mechanics as they will die very fast anyway. Iron Fist. Surprisingly, this one is boosting damage of the pain trait. So we are getting 100% bonus damage just from Iron Fist on top of the pain train. So those two already, if you just have those two, you are already doing high damage with pain train. And high strength. High total strength is important. Incisor works, helps you do even more damage, especially important on tanky targets. Soft one doesn't matter, but tanky targets like Ohio area, very important. Bone Shatterer I have here to do even more limb damage, not essential. Brick Wall, so I will not get staggered and I can sprint continuously, no one will interrupt with my sprinting. If you are a human, you cannot have that unfortunately, so you will occasionally get staggered. Perception, only 2 perks. Tormentor for extra damage when I do cripple them, and Dilsilize, I'm applying bleed and crippling, so I have 20%. Again, not super important. You can go without it. Like, you could have 1 perception, it would be fine. Endurance. This is quite important as you will be face tanking everything. Obviously, you are in enemy's face. So Life Giver to be more tanky, Ironclad to be more tanky, and as well to hit 1000 damage resistance. You need 1000 damage resistance to have full bonus of Iron Fist. So Ironclad max out important here. Solar powered, so during the day even more strength, more damage. Fireproof to be more tanky, and Glowing Gut, as I do want to have my glow high. If it runs out, I will just eat something. And Brick Wall works. I don't need to eat anything, as you probably noticed as I was running around. My glow was auto-topping up, and that's because of the gear. We'll get to the gear part in a moment. Let's cover perks first, so I don't mix up too much. Charisma, we have Strange in Numbers. Feral Presence to reduce damage output of enemies that we sprint into. And United Ordeal. United Ordeal doesn't work in this case as I'm solo, but I hope to team up with some other ghoul and have even more damage, as more strength, more damage. So this damage will be higher than what you were able to see here if I would be on a team. The point is, if I would be on a team, some other people will be attacking those targets on headhunt, so you would not be able to tell if it's just my damage or someone else. That's why I did that solo. Intelligence. First aid is here just in case if I lose the glow for some reason. Power user. Again, that's quality of life. You are not really burning that much fusion cores from sprinting, so you could go without it. Science. To boost our damage. Explanation how it's boosting damage in a moment, as that's the gear part. But yes, science to boost our damage. Batch is included if I want to carry more stuff. Good with salt if I want to carry more food. Science monster for a tiny bit of damage. Most of the stuff under intelligence, not really important. Science is damage boost, but medium one, so you could even skip that if you wanted. Then agility, action boy, so I have my action point faster and I need them to sprint around. Born survival just in case again. Gun food to switch targets inwards. Sometimes you can nicely chain a bunch of enemies when you open VATS and sprint. Not, does it always work, but sometimes it does, and it's fun when it does. Adrenaline for extra damage. Only adrenaline is essential really here. You could run it with 2 agility and it would be fine. Assuming you would have enough action points, so you may consider a little bit more than 2 agility. Luck. Bloody Mess. That causes enemies to explode. You are able to see like all those ghouls dies almost instantaneously. That's Bloody Mess explosions. Popping up those that were too far to get hit by Pain Train itself. Psychopath. This I'm using in case I face a Scourge Beast. So when I'm sprinting around, I'm refilling my VATS critical, and if there is Scourge Beast around, I will shoot my Black Powder Rifle once to the wing with a critical, and that would cripple the wing, and she will land. Like Scourge Beast, she will land. And then Ricochet for tankiness. Cap Collector, so when I loot them, I have even more free caps. 4-Leaf Clover. That in case this one critical wouldn't be enough, and I will need to shoot more than once into the wing. So I have some support for my shooting abilities. Especially as a feral ghoul, my hit chance is basically 0. So only criticals hit. Class Freak, as we do have mutations. Crit Savvy. Junk Shield for tankiness. And just in case Battle Genes, I had nothing to really add in here. You could play it with much lower luck. So that's what I'm saying. a lot of those perks are not essential. I did list the essentials ones, so if you just use essential perks, you are good to go. Level 50 is absolutely possible for you to run this build. Mutations. Adrenaline reaction for damage. Burn bones, that's mainly to have more action points. Carnivore is that food benefits melee damage, so we do even more damage if you are carnivore. Herd mentality, free special on a team. If you are solo on a team, like me here, just me on a team, it already works. Marsupial for jumping, Scully Skin for tankiness, Speed Demon for speed, Talons for extra damage, it does work with Pain Train, and Twisted Muscle, extra damage, does work with Pain Train, and adds on top of that extra limb damage. So all of that is helping us. Now, very important, gear and its interactions. Weapon. What works? I'm running with this auto axe. The Juggernaut's effect works and provides me hefty 50% damage bonus. Target skills have chance to grant low amount of caps, so that's pickpocketers that can be only installed on melee. Does work, as you are able to notice. I was getting caps possibly by just killing stuff. And then target kills increase glow by a small amount. That does work as well with Pain Train, so I'm getting my glow basically sustained by itself thanks to this 3-star. And lastly, Polished does work with Pain Train and boost its damage. It's great. And weapon is not taking any damage when you are just holding it, so it remains a full bonus just because I'm holding it. It's not losing any. I could use this weapon if necessary. I prefer not to, as I don't want to damage it. And this weapon will do less damage than I'm doing from the Pain Train. So it's not to be used, it's to be held. That's it. You don't even need to have it out. You just need to hold it. That's it for the weapon. About other effects, like you could run Furious, and Furious works regardless of the weapon. If you hold range weapon, the Furious would still work. The weak point damage, sometimes Pain Train hit would consider to be a weak point hit, but that's very rare. So that's very rare chance for it to work. Furious would work. So Furious would work. You could even run Reverse Furious if you wanted to. The melee Pounders effect, so that would be Furious Pounders auto axe. The Pounders bonus damage do not work for the Pain Train, so it will not. Then Black Powder Rifle. This is in case of Scourge Beast. I shoot one critical and I cripple the wing, and that forces Scourge Beast to land, and I can Pain Train the Scourge Beast. You could use way more weapons, but that to cover essentials. Prefix generally works. From the 4-star, Polish is the one that works. Other mostly do not. So you want Polish if possible. If you don't have it, that's not essential. The build will still work. Armor. The most essential part of the armor is on your arms, Tesla Bracers. The mod called Tesla Bracers that adds unarmed energy damage. You want that on both arms, and even though you are holding auto axe in your hands, this bonus damage is applied to the base damage of Pain Train. That's a huge boost to your damage. Both arms with Tesla Bracers are a must to have the best damage. Then there is this 4-star Choo-Choos that adds rank to Pain Train and adds bleed over 5 seconds. It all stacks, so you can have all 5 pieces. If you don't have it, the build still works. There is just no this high bleed that you can see on enemies when I sprint and leave them alone. It will not happen, as that would not be present. But impact damage would be almost the same. I was testing without the Choo-Choo. I have other power armor that I was testing, so I can prove it. It's in my inventory. I was doing really good with this one. No problem at all. So this one is Aegis on the 4-star, so it doesn't affect damage. The important part, you probably notice on both, strength. The 2nd star, you want it to be strength. And I know I need to switch this overeaters to something else. I'm the ghoul and it does nothing for me. It's that human only, so it's basically no 1st star. Work in progress with switching those legendary effects. Carry weight reduction on 3-star if you want to, or anything else. The important part is strength, really. That's the most important. And arm mods Tesla bracers. So that's the key. Under armor, backpack, this stuff doesn't work when wearing power armor, so you don't need to worry about it. Do you want to see without... Okay, I will show you, like, just as a proof of concept. I will switch power armor, and I will show you this build without choo-choo. Without choo-choo, and I will get out of the feral state, so we'll see without being feral. I can go feral back really fast. You can switch between non-feral and feral ghoul now, thanks to weapons with feral prefix. I do have one in my inventory, there. So with this weapon, when I'm running and killing, I'm quickly going back to a feral state. So it's very useful. So now, to jump out of the feral, I'm just using some Radex follow-up by Radex Diluted to top up my bar. I'm no longer feral, I have no bonuses. That's the worst possible state, losing it. So penalties without any benefits. So now you will see how it will work. We'll just pop a Toxic Good to top up my glow, and we'll visit Super Mutants. So now, no feral ghoul bonus, and no choo-choo. As you see, it's working. Where is the Super Mutant? There they are. It is working. Close to 3k damage you can expect. No problem. It's working. I am running melee food, so that's important that you have any. It's very easy to get melee damage food. You just loot some of the mutant hounds and cook their meat. That's all you need to do. 3k damage here, and that counted as a weak spot. So sometimes it does. And yeah, as easy as that, they defeat it. They can get some extra cards. I don't really want everything at this moment. But yeah, works. It will work. It will kill level 100 super mutants in one bump. If you can later on grind, add choo-choo and become a feral ghoul, even better. Good for you if you can. Still good if you cannot. It will still work. So now, let me think if you like it. Are you gonna give it a shot? I need to say, incredible fun is guaranteed. Maybe not to run it forever, as you have no range for most part, but look at the fun aspect. And that being said, thank you all for watching, and see you all in the next one.